Yeah.
We'll hedge a trial.
We'll do this, and if we, but I don't,
Do this.
like, I don't want to wait.
Sleep down there for a year.
Upstairs was just as high.
And let me know how you feel.
Upstairs was just as high.
So you're
so
telling me 18 and 19 are the same number?
it's that much over 4.
No,
Have you ever read between the lines, Mark?
Came in at 18? Really?
Downstairs was 19.
How long you been there?
No. We had it.
No, she's saying recently. It's 18 and 19.
When they built the house, the foundation was the same. They built the house, they had it checked, everything was fine.
I'm just giggling. I'm giggling. I'm not into
Yeah, I mean, I was fine until you brought up this Ellis Island shit.
Well, you wanted to let that just play on me?
So, Addie spilled some water today. I was letting the dogs in. I look over, she's picking up water just on the granite. No big deal. And I thought, I said, what happened? She goes, my bottle's leaking. I said, leaking? It's a metal bottle. How's it leaking? Well, I didn't have the cap on. I said, that's not leaking, that's spilling. There's a big difference between leaking and spilling. So then I started thinking how I had to go out the other night at 9:30 to pick her up because her damn boyfriend can't get her home in half an inch of snow.
Did you adjust
So I said to her, and I said, what's around with your boyfriend anyway? What's he is? This guy, what is he, a mama's boy? I think I left the house going, geez, I hope you don't marry him and he's got to pay the mortgage and it's raining out and you can't show up for work someday. Yeah. So then she texts mom going, are you and dad fighting? He's awful mad at me about this thing.
These days you can buy just about anything online, but if you're looking to buy a car or something, shopping, camera, not anymore.
Yeah, which is great. But what about this situation that I told you? Was your son who brought her home? Yeah, I'm not talking drinking and other stuff. I'm talking what we're talking about.
Yeah. I drove through.
So if you get me today, what's good is, even if I don't get complete spots, like if I say brought to you by, I take parts of all spots and put it together. Easy. With radio. Radio, which is 93.
Did we miss those 24/7s yesterday?
Facebook and even television.
No. There was only one live. Yeah, so I don't know what George is thinking.
It's the log. It has nothing to do with it. Get to iHeartMedia.com and put AMFM on there.
When the need for senior care arises,
Catherine, how many times do people get new houses and they get it tested and it's
Visiting
good?
Angels will provide
And a
home
year
care
later,
for your
it's bad.
mom or dad.
Because I guarantee you that people open the windows. I'll guarantee you they did that at my house.
Oh, when they tested it.
Yeah, I'll guarantee you.
When we were selling our house, I turned on the dehumidifier in the basement. The whole time I just turned it on. Ours is perfect.
Don't run those over 30%.
America's choice in
Really?
senior home care.
Yeah.
You mean a humidifier or dehumidifier?
Oh, a humidifier. You have a dehu or hu?
Dehu.
Dehu, yeah, dehu is fine.
It's down in the, it was in the crawl space.
Texas, yeah.
Where the stuff comes
Oh,
from.
the dehu fan.
Are you
Yeah.
saying?
Runs on a dehu
And I turned it on all the way.
30%? You're saying a humidifier?
That humidifier, that humidistat he's got, I set him at 30.
Okay.
He came out and put the test
Yeah.
in.
If this is
Right
wet,
before they put the test in, I turned that thing on the whole
he's
time.
got
The
a
test came
structural wood
back.
floor, I'm assuming.
Yeah, if that air is
Suspended
circulating
floor over
and
the
changing
soil.
over.
Right.
I have the same thing in my basement. You have a structural wood floor in the basement?
Used to.
Oh, used to. Yeah.
Yep, structural wood.
Yeah.
You just pop it up, sump pumps there, fans
Switches
right
there.
there,
The dehu switch
switch
always
is right
set those
there.
up
You have a structural wood.
Used to.
Those are excellent.
Not in Frank's.
Yeah, they're actually more expensive than
The Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Hello, I'm Tom Martino. Welcome to the show. I'm here to help you solve problems, answer questions taking place as I've been doing for 40 years here in Denver. And we are proud to have the longest running radio show on the air with the same host, so welcome. If you have a problem, give us a call. This show is all about help. Help, help, help. We help in all areas of life. We discuss all areas of life. This hour brought to you by K&H Home Solutions. K&H Home Solutions, where you can get wonderful deals on all of your exterior solutions for your home, like siding and windows and doors. And K&H has some specials for us. They're taking, now they normally have about 25% off for our listeners, 25% off their regular low prices, okay? So if you go to them from this show, you'll get that. And then they have something special for this month, and that is an extra 10% on top of that. That's for March, an extra 10%. You only have a few days to take advantage of that. Were you going to say something, Mark, on that?
I was going to say, that's 3 days, man. And that's a real 10%.
Now, you don't have to get it done, obviously, in that time. Just make an appointment, 303-421-7100. But they'd rather you go to that website and read all about them. They have beautiful new, this new siding, Everlast, has talc built in, and the color goes through and through. So anyway, the website, khwindows.com, khwindows.com. Let's go on with the show, and then I'm going to introduce my guests. We have some guests in the studio to say hi, and it's really important that you understand that everything we do on the show, everything is for learning, even when we discuss silly things. And I want to discuss something. I wanted to talk about the vaping marijuana on my Frontier flight, and I will get to that. But Mark brought something up in the office, and he was very upset about it. And I thought, I don't know, I think I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't be upset. But here's what happened. His daughter was on, oh, should I make this anonymous? Now it's too late.
Doesn't matter.
His daughter has a boyfriend, and it was snowing out. And
2 nights ago.
And they were out. Well, I hope I have the story right. So why don't you, Mark, tell me the story? So just make it just the facts of the story, and then we'll talk about the issue.
Well, it was their 2-month anniversary.
Okay.
So they went out for dinner and a movie.
Okay.
He was going to have her back around 9:30 or so.
Okay.
And next thing I know, I'm being told by Suzanne that they texted, or Suzanne got in contact, or I'm sorry, Addie got in contact with Suzanne, saying, he can't bring me home. It's snowing out.
And, okay.
So can you come pick me up, which was, you know, quite a bit past Ponderosa.
No, I understand. So, Suzanne, he's an 18-year-old boy. So, Suzanne, what was it? Was that accurate? He asked, can you come? What did he say?
Addie said, we're pulled over on the side of the road. It's really snowy. We're not sure what to do. I said, Ethan needs to call his mom and see what she says.
Right.
So then they called back and said, Ethan's mom said he needs to go to a friend's house nearby, and you guys need to come pick me up. So that's where it was left.
So he felt challenged by the weather. He was upset with the weather and pulled over, and then they went to a friend's house close by, and then Mark had to pick her up at a friend's house.
Yeah, and me picking her up has nothing to do with this issue. No. My issue was, A, he didn't even call me. He had my daughter call me to come get her. I don't get that in a million years.
Well, that's because...
he didn't want to call me and say, hey, I'm over 18 and I'm afraid to drive.
Mark, Tom.
So here's the bottom line. I don't care that part. The part about her calling or him calling, if
that's a huge part of it, Tom. What would you...
You were upset that he wouldn't drive her home.
That's it, nor would he call me and actually say, hey, I'm afraid to drive home. He has my daughter
call you. She called me instead.
Okay. So here's the point, though. Mark was really ragging on the guy, saying, man, an 18-year-old man, and he can't drive in the snow, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now,
and he's got an all-wheel drive, either a Lexus or an Acura. We're not talking this kid's driving an old beater like I did, that I drive through anything.
It's a Honda CR-V.
I respect him for admitting he felt uncomfortable in the weather. And I think I like the guy. I would think you're responsible. You're responsible enough to have me come get my daughter because you feel uncomfortable.
And he would have felt bad, Tom, if he got in a wreck or something.
Okay, now that's my opinion. What's your opinion?
Well, my opinion, and it's absolutely crazy. He takes her out, then he has her call us up so we can come pick her up.
Is that the only part that bothers you? So if he called, would it have
If he called, it would have went a lot further. But no, just the whole...
But you still would have been upset.
Just the whole reason he said, I'm going to take her out. It's our 2nd anniversary. We're going to go out. I'll have her home by this time. After that time has come and gone is when all this comes down. I didn't like any bit of it. Now, but I even go further than that. I go back when I was 18 years old. In a million years...
Mark, we were different. That's a wholly different... That's not fair.
What do you mean? You wouldn't have done it. Dan wouldn't have done it. I talked to Ross about it. He wouldn't have done it. I don't know a man out there. How about our guest?
Okay, but hold on.
In a million years, when you were 18, would you have had your date call their mother and say, come get me?
Let me ask you another question. The part about her calling or him calling, that doesn't bother me.
It's the whole thing.
But let's confine it to the driving part, because that's what you were bragging about first. I want to ask you.
Go ahead.
Would you want him driving her home if he felt uncomfortable driving in winter weather like that?
No, I wouldn't want her I wouldn't want him taking her out in the first place. Do they not know it's going to snow like they've been saying for 2 days?
Okay, but he did. So I think it's just like if kids had too much to drink and they called and said...
That's a completely...
It is. Hold on.
You say, let's stick to this,
Mark,
then you bring it into
Mark,
if they were drinking.
If you let me finish, I'll tell you what I mean. It's the same thing when it comes to judgment. He felt uncomfortable driving in the snow. What I meant was it's the same thing for judgment when kids are drinking too much, or if kids feel tired, or if they're not feeling good.
Yeah, and if he was having a seizure, I'd want her to call too. It's got nothing to do with the case at hand, though.
It has to do with judgment. I feel...
Would you have ever have done it?
Well, what difference does that make? No.
Okay, maybe it goes down to, who's she dating? An 18-year-old that takes her out and can't get her home. Maybe that's the whole root of this. That's an issue.
Okay, Suzanne?
So Mark says, would you have ever done it? When I was 18, he goes, when I was 18, well, hang on, but Mark was 19, moving me in at 16. So if this 19-year-old boy moves in his 16-year-old daughter, is all okay in the world?
No, listen, I don't even want to talk about that, what we would have done, because I actually was never confronted with a situation where I felt uncomfortable.
Either was I.
But if I was, maybe I would have done that. I would like to think...
But that... makes me uncomfortable about him in general.
I think I would be more uncomfortable if the kid machoed through it and was trembling at the wheel, afraid to drive in this, you know what I mean. And I think I feel better about the kid that he admitted his weakness and had you come get her. But here's the deal. I want your opinion. Really, I want your opinion. I mean, Mark was really ragging on this guy, so I want your opinion on that. If you can't get through it, 303-713-TALK. We also have 303-MARTINO, 303-627-8466. Dixie, what's going on?
I just called Mr. Martino to thank you so much for your help.
What did we do?
You have solved my problem with Home Depot on my carpet.
Oh, yes.
When nobody else would. I had called 3 different organizations and no...
Now, who took care of this for you? Do you remember who you dealt with?
I think Daff.
Yeah.
Might have been Clint.
No, this was where they did a bad job. So what ended up happening, Dixie?
They ended up giving me a refund, but not, they wouldn't pick up the carpet, and that's also a big charge. But Bud at Simply Floors is going to do my carpeting, and he said, don't worry about picking it up.
You will never, you know what, you'll never do better than Simply Floors, Inc. Seriously, the guy is unbelievable, and he'll get you, you'll find, Dixie, those prices from the beginning would have been cheaper than Home Depot or the Carpet Mill or Carpet Exchange. He can beat them every time because he doesn't have the overhead. You can go to 52nd and Ward to see him, or simplyfloorsinc.com and make your own appointment. That's Buddy Mitchell, and that's an unsolicited call. What's this scam on Craigslist you want to tell us about, Tom? What's this scam?
Well, we rented a condo in Steamboat Springs for 2 days this past weekend. When we got up there, well, before we got up there, the gentleman said, give us a call an hour out, tell us what time we're going to be there, and we'll meet you there with the keys. We agreed. An hour out, we called him, told him we'd be there. Then we called him when we were in Steamboat and texted multiple times. The guy never showed up, never responded.
Now, did you pay him already?
Paid him through PayPal.
And did you... Well, see, I'm not sure, but when you use a credit card and then PayPal, is it rescindable like a regular credit card or not? Or do they say, sorry, that's PayPal?
It's going to be PayPal's issue. It's not going to be your credit card.
Well, is PayPal going to help you?
Well, They are, because they're going to mark it as fraud.
But are they going to give the money back? Don't they have the ability to take it out of his account again?
It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks for them to look into it. And the warning that the gentleman said that I'd like to pass on to everybody else is, he said, the guy that scammed us said, instead of putting the money into guest services, he asked us to put it under family or friend. He said, because if we put it into guest services, it could take up to 30 days before he got his money.
All right. So where does it stand right now? You just want to let us know about it? Because going to Craigslist for condos and stuff, this can happen anytime. I caution people, first of all, use credit cards. I don't even like PayPal because it's another layer. But it seems like you've taken care of your problem. So what did your family do after you got there and had nowhere to go?
We had to drive all over town. And
you found a place?
A hotel, yes. That
God.
was way more expensive than the condo would have been.
I'm really sorry this happened. Thanks for letting us know. But really, saying there's a scam about condos on Craigslist is like so generic. I mean, there's basically a scam about everything on Craigslist. Plumbline Services has something that I love. They do plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains. Now, they will do 93 or it's free with your drains. This is the time of year drains start acting up because of the thaw and also the rains or wet. Here's what happens. You think you need a whole drain, somebody comes and says it, you get a free second opinion with Plumbline on all major plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains. But the other thing, if your drain is clogged, they will charge you $93 to get it clear, or it's free. And if it's free because they can't get it unclogged, you'll get a written report on exactly what's wrong, and you can believe them. They have their own drain division, their own equipment. They don't mark up. They don't have a middleman. Plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains. PlumbLineServices.com, 303-586-1086.
Okay.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. There's a couple of accidents. Watch out for you. Drive across town. Shoulders blocked due to a wreck northbound I-25 at University. Backing you up past Evans on that stretch. Crash on a ramp southbound I-25 from
It's horrible.
Don't get me started. It's a terrible time there. It's just low speeds downtown still on southbound I-25 around this time.
And when you realize how much really we pay to live in this country, and I'm not complaining, but when people say that you don't pay taxes, I can't stand that.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, but the people that don't aren't.
Well, they still pay taxes, but it's not the income. They still pay sales tax.
It should just be all sales tax, man. It should be a
Use tax, I mean, a use tax.
But then you open up the underground economy.
I heard the other day.
Well, yeah, but they already have that.
California, only 160,000 people pay the taxes for the entire state.
I was talking to a guy.
Oh, yeah.
160.
Okay, hold on. We're talking about.
Say it again.
166,000 pay the tax bill for the entire state.
Maybe a large percentage.
California.
Man,
and it might be 70–80%, may not be all.
First of all, their homeless population is unlike anything you've seen. So if you start figuring in illegal immigrants that aren't paying taxes, the homeless, I mean, that number could hold.
Throw in Silicon Valley and Hollywood and all that. That's a lot of money.
No, that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's
no, that can't. It can't.
They stated on Fox Business, but you know who knows.
I'm looking it up.
That would be ridiculous.
That's what I thought at first. It sounds ridiculous, but I wouldn't be surprised. There's 20-some million in California.
Yeah, that would be so ridiculous. I mean, mathematically, that wouldn't even work, because if you took 166,000. Okay, and they each paid a million. Well, of course, but they don't. So you know they don't. So therefore,
yeah, but you're forgetting how much they're taxed.
How much they're making? Yeah, hard to say. Thought it was an interesting fact. It jerked my head too. I'm like, oh, no way, that can't be right.
You can't be. I mean, just do some math. 166,000. I mean, people don't pay $100,000 in taxes.
Almost half of California. Let me see here. Almost half of California. This is 2014 income taxes paid by top 1%. Well, that's pretty much nationwide.
Yeah.
Let me see how many people that represents. So.
If you want a quality person, 25 million or 3 million in California.
Because their budget is.
I talked to
$30 billion in the hole.
I talked to a guy this morning that is getting ready to move from California. He says they just up all our DMV stuff too.
Yeah.
he went to re-register or something, it went up like 30%.
You know, at some point,
Now, you've heard me talk a lot about
God,
stem cell therapy.
I'm just so tired of it, because no matter who you talk to, you have people who say that the answer is, you know, have the rich pay more, others say they don't pay enough, some say they pay too much. No matter who you talk to, no one agrees. And why can't it just be fair, where everyone pays a fair share?
Flat tax.
Just fair.
Flat.
But with a flat tax, then take away, but give low income people.
No,
they say, I know, but they say a flat tax. I'm not saying this. They say a flat tax is unfair because the reason they went to a graduated tax, where if you make less, you get 10 or 15% taken out. If you make more, it's 50%. Because they call it a progressive tax, because they say the more money you make, the more ability you have. I think that's bullshit. A flat tax reflects truly what you're doing. If you're making a shitload, you pay a shitload, right? And if you're not making a lot, or you could even exclude people who make under a certain amount totally if you want to. They do. But why don't they do a flat tax? Because people say the rich should pay more. That's the main reason against it, isn't it?
Yep, but the problem is you tax the rich at 90%. It still doesn't cover the bill.
No matter what, you're still going to take more in on a flat tax. A poor guy's not going to buy a $100,000 car or a $500,000 jet or whatever. It's all taxed.
Oh, you're talking about a use tax now or a flat tax?
I call it a flat tax on everything. So if you can't,
it's a consumption tax.
It's a consumption.
Then it would almost be a VAT tax, you know, value added at point of purchase.
You just at point of purchase, and then you don't tax food.
No.
God, you'd have a lot of money.
You'd actually have probably more revenue.
More our own money.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show, 303-713-TALK. Joseph A. Lazara is a criminal defense attorney I hope you never need. You hear me say that all the time, and I mean it. But please keep the name in mind if you're, like, in trouble somewhere, you know. Here's the deal. Unfortunately, a lot of what he does is criminal defense for DUI, and it's such an avoidable thing. You can avoid it, and besides, people would be safer if you did that. Now, some people aren't truly stone drunk. They had an extra wine, and they thought they could handle it, but they're legally over the limit. LazaraLegal.com. It's Lazara, L-A-Z-Z-A-R-A, so 2 Z's, 1 R, LazaraLegal.com, 303-429-6200, 303-429-6200. Our guest today, we have Absolute Radon Safety, and I always say Absolute Radon Safety gives you absolute peace of mind, because radon can kill deals. And we'll talk to her coming up on how do you get tested for radon, and what are the numbers, and do you care? Some people don't care. Just quickly, Catherine, there's no law, right? I mean, you can buy and sell real estate with numbers at 25 and 30 if you wanted to. I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop that, right? I mean,
it's all between the buyers and the sellers.
But the health department doesn't say you must ever do anything, right?
No, there's sets of EPA recommendations, but there's no laws and there's no code.
Okay.
On the books.
Why isn't there, I wonder? They like when you build, there's no code for...
Some counties have new sets for new construction, brand new construction, implementing radon-resistant new construction passive systems.
The thing I love about what you guys do is you take the mystery out of it, because about 90% of all systems she can mitigate. See, so many people, they kill a real estate deal because they hear radon. Oh, my God, it's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. So Catherine's company, Absolute Radon Safety, puts a price on it. That's what I like. They put an absolute price on it, $8.99, and that handles about 90% of the cases they run up against. And even when it's an odd case, it's not much more. So isn't that cool? If you get a number back and you're selling your house and you panic, don't panic. And we'll talk more about that if you have any questions. Then we have someone else I'm going to talk to that, my God, if there ever has been exaggeration, it's been in the area of mold. We actually got a guy, finally, who can test for mold. Finally. Oh, goodness. And we'll talk about that, because so many people misunderstand mold. How many different kinds of mold? What mold should you be worried about? All right? Let's talk to Doug. Hi, Doug. What's going on?
Hi, yeah, I got an old cashier's check. A family member had written it. It's been 20 years ago.
Yeah, It's you know, it's been paid for, but I think after all that time, it's in. It might be. Oh my goodness!
In a shoots fund?
A sheet. But here's why it won't be, Mark. Because if you think about it, when you get a cashier's check, they take that money out of your account. They put it in the bank's account. Then the bank issues the check. So that check is drawn on the bank's account. That's why they call it cashier's. It's the bank cashier's check. Now, Mark, if that money does not come out of their checking account and it doesn't balance, I do believe it might be escheat funds. But, geez, this is a hard one, Doug. How much is it?
Almost $13,000.
Now, why? Can you tell me what it was for and why it wasn't cash? That it's just curious.
Well, I think it was for an issue back around that time that it was issued. Myself and some people I was going to school with at the time were looking at doing a little business venture. We were going to flight school and looking at buying an airplane so we could build flight time and lease it back to us flight school.
Yeah.
And the family member was trying to help with that, I think, and things didn't work out, so they just had misplaced the check and forgot about it.
Okay, so they wrote the check to they were going to buy part of an airplane, but then they never did.
Well, they issued the check is actually in my name.
It's issued to you.
Yes.
Was it going to be a loan to you?
You know, I don't remember if it was going to be a loan or what. Cause
well, are these people? Do these people ever ask, "Hey, Doug, where's my 10 grand or my 13 grand?"
Well, no, because they didn't give it to me until about a week ago.
And what did they say when they gave it to you a week ago?
They had misplaced it and didn't even realize.
And did they say? And did they say here? I mean, did they want you to have 13 grand, or did they want their money back? What when they gave it to you? What did they say?
No, they told me if you can cash it, it's yours. And I took it to my bank.
But so what was it back then? A gift to you back then?
Well, I don't know if it was a gift or what. They just said if it's
okay, I understand. Doug, what did your bank say?
My bank said that they could cash it or try to cash it, but it'd probably come back with a return check fee.
Well,
take it to the bank that has it, and they ran.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What bank is it drawn on?
It's what's the name of it now? I forget the name of it.
Well, no. What I mean is the bank still around? Huh?
The original bank has been bought by a new bank.
Okay. Well, there's your problem. Okay. If it was bought, assume there are several different ways. Was it bought or was it a failed bank? There are several different options. So the old bank, can you tell me, and we can figure out if it was failed or if it was what kind of a sale was it? You don't remember the old bank and you don't remember the new bank. Is that correct?
The new bank is Guaranteed Bank and Trust.
Okay.
And the routing number does go back to them.
Okay, so the routing number does reroute to Guarantee Bank and Trust.
Yes.
Okay. Now, no one is going to want to keep this money, so what's good about it is it's long been paid for. What you need to do is you probably need to go to the escheat funds, the state treasurer, because what would have happened is any money that was left in their account that did not balance for outstanding checks, they know what checks they issued. They have a checking account, just like we do. And if there's a check that does not come back, the money will go in an escheat fund, okay? And
well, I have looked at that, Colorado Unclaimed Property and Funds website, and I've never ever seen my name on there.
Well, your name wouldn't be on there.
Is there any time frame on the check itself?
The check's made out to you, right?
The check is made out to me. There is no expiration date on the check.
No, but they're not going to cash it. There doesn't have to be an expiration
Everything I'm reading says a cashier's check does not have an expiration date. However, some banks may have a specific time frame written on the check. He's saying he doesn't.
No time frame on the check. Nothing on the check.
Okay,
but here's the rub is the bank's gone.
Yeah, and we don't know how the assets were assumed. If they were not assumed, that's why I need to know the old bank.
It's First National Bank of Longmont.
How would they probably don't even have a way to look back 20 years in a different bank's records to see if this thing was ever cashed.
When you go to Guarantee, what do they say?
Well, they said they have to go back to their records and look to see
Good.
where things
So
went.
what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
I don't know. They haven't told me yet. It's been, I gave it to them a week ago, and they
okay,
said
that's
take a
good.
week or two
You know
to do
what?
it, but
You're in the right place, but you might ask them, or ask the state, whose name would those estate funds go into? They might not necessarily go into your name because that money, well, it was unclaimed by you. The check was made out to you, but I'm not sure their check register would show that. It could be under the bank, the Longmont Bank, and you have a check going to the Longmont Bank. You ought to go back and see if there's any money payable to Longmont or something. Well, no, it wouldn't go to Longmont. This is an odd one.
You know, they probably do have records. I'm thinking it's only 1998. Every bank was operating under computers and stuff at this time.
Yeah.
It seems further than it actually was.
I would give them a little more. I would give them a little more time, Doug, and get back to us. You know, those funds are paid for, just for people to know. The money is taken from your account, and it's put into a bank's account. The bank then operates a checking account. So the bank issues the check. And what a bank is saying when they issue a cashier's check is this: we've gotten the money from the guy or the woman. We've put it in our account. We guarantee that money is there for you. And then you present it. So that is a guarantee. It's already been paid. It can't bounce. So now when that money does not show up month after month after month, and then at the end of the year, their bank, their register, just like a regular checkbook, shows that that check is unpaid. They're not allowed to just keep that money. I am positive they would have had to put it in the estate funds, okay? And that's where the rub is. We have to figure out where and who they put it under. 303-713-8255. All right, so Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ. I want to tell you about them because my kids are on that system. And I pay about now listen to this, about $280 a month for 2 kids. 2. And for that, we get the graduated malleable mouthpieces that they wear at night. And that widens their palate and straightens their teeth. Now, they've only been on it a year, and they're already, or a year and a half, they're already getting straight teeth. When it comes time for braces, they will only need them for a few months, maybe a year. It's cheaper than regular orthodontics, and it's wonderful. Now, they do this for adults in a more aggressive way, and you can have a beautiful mouth in 2 years. No surgeries, no extractions. All of it's done naturally, so it corrects your TMJ, it would correct sleep apneas. Call about the new orthodontics. Now, here's the number for kids, but they also have it for adults. Okay, and it's called New Early Orthodontics for Kids, or the New Orthodontics for Adults, 303-690-0400. It's extraordinary. 303-690-0400. Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ.
So the drip that used to come just for one person, yeah. Okay. And most of them, they want 4 people for $500. But there's a new one open up at the Landmark.
Which one?
Right there, right where you are.
Oh yeah, sorry I did that.
And I called them.
I figured it would be good for you.
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I could schedule your time, and they have a private room that you can sit in and work. So it's right in the Landmark. Yeah, and I can reserve you a spot, and then you could reserve that.
Have you got any big ones come back?
No extra. I would suggest the wellness one, because that's the one for exhaustion, it's $125.
Okay.
But they have different ones for you to pick, and you can pick when you get there.
Can you make me an appointment? Mark, what do we...
Look at your email real quick.
I'm going to come back to work, but do we need to do anything right after the show?
No, not today.
So 1:15?
How about, can you do the 10:30?
Okay, start
You gotta see
2:30. I'll schedule it.
This is real. This isn't like, this isn't fake. This got a deal yesterday.
2 days, 3 days.
Just go to the video. This is in China. So in China, when you buy a Ford now, there's no dealerships, there's nothing. You go on to an app, okay?
You schedule a test drive in this fucking car vending machine, brings down your car, you test drive it. No people anywhere. It's between you, the app, and the car vending machine. Yeah, fucking ringless roulette. Watch like that. They're putting them all over. This is the new dealership. So once you qualify, or you're going to pay cash, you qualify test, you go over, it drops down your car, you take your test drive, you pull it back in, or you buy it. 10 minutes.
And there's no arguing, you just...
There's no salespeople.
There's a price.
It's either kiosk, no human help whatsoever. None. You hit it, watch how it drops down the car. It's unbelievable. It's the largest vending machine in the world. So, but this is coming. This is where it's at. You and I have talked about why are dealerships even here. Well, they're not anymore. They're all going bye-bye. And if you think about it, without having someone for the consumer to hassle with, you're always going to be selling at the same price.
Yeah. You know,
no more dealing.
It's Alibaba.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alibaba and Ford. Can you, I mean, have you ever seen anything so cool?
I wonder what the price of them are over there versus here.
Well, Ford's going to be higher over there. They have a tariff on that shit. Oh, of course. Ford's like a luxury car over there. They pick up and
They've not just recently tariffed, they've had tariffs in the past.
Oh, I think they've had, oh my God, I think U.S. cars to China, let me see.
Pretty reasonable compared to a lot of other companies.
Yeah. So you're saying do not buy car dealerships?
Open network.
Oh my God.
I'm surprised that
that
call, that kid did not get the reaction.
Well, lines have been full. Well, I'll tell you why, too, because most people are going to think exactly like I do.
Well, yeah, but they would call and say something, you would think.
China tariff on import.
I'm going to now talk about...
Smoking a little hooch on the plane?
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday.
Is there something wrong with that?
That's crazy.
He's actually got a picture of him.
I would think it would happen
while you're
more
high.
leaving Denver rather than coming to Denver, you know?
That's right. A different Mile High Club.
Look, the guys were nice. I mean, they weren't... I don't care if they were doing it with strawberry juice nectar. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I can't believe they just let them do it.
Huh?
I can't believe
it smelled like crazy.
I know.
Well, they claimed. See, here's the deal. You can see them going, looking, right? I didn't want to say. It's those guys. I just thought, you know what? Maybe they'll make an announcement. We want to remind you there will be no vaping, no electronics.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
I was hoping they would do it because I don't want to be the one to say, "Whoa, it's them." Because people said, "Well, why didn't you confront them?" I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Almost the same time. Power surge, phones go, the whole thing. And I asked Corey, I said, "Did you guys have a power surge in the building?" And she said, or around here, and she said, "No." So it's our office.
But why would it be our office? Is it electrical or what broadband?
I don't know. This was the first time
We
that
don't
the
have
lights
independent
actually
power.
blinked
But
off.
we don't have.
The building's not. I don't know what to tell
Shouldn't
you.
be
And then our
observed.
phones go dead, and then they reboot.
We had phones, so that's what it was. That did the phones.
Art of Granite is the art of buying granite.
Mitch Floria, who Mark said came in through Ellis Island or something, and people were laughing.
I said he visited Ellis Island.
Well, Mark, what difference does that make? No, anyway, he really is a Romanian immigrant, and he did come with $300 in his pocket. Mitch, it's just wonderful, his story, how he got to know the granite business and says, you know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the mystery out of it. I'm a direct importer of stone and granite and quartz, and then I'm going to charge wholesale for all of that. Or you can buy it anywhere on my wholesale account. I'll only charge for the fabrication and installation, a fair price. I'll tear out and haul away everything free. I'll do the bathroom free when you do the kitchen. And really, that's how simple it is. But the best part about Art of Granite, and I wish more businesses did this. In fact, I'll ask my guests today if they do it. He'll give you prices on the phone. If you take a picture, give them some measurements, you can get a price within a few $100s of your actual project. Then you go out to Golden to his beautiful showroom and pick the actual materials and the edges and the sinks and the cabinets if you want them for a small markup from the manufacturer. So call and get your price. Really. And your kitchen can be remodeled. 303-386-5919. No one does that except artofgranite.net, 303-386-5919. And yes,
what did you think? Oh, finish up there. But
now, speaking of that kind of thing, prices. Catherine, you give prices. You know, what are your tests? How much do they cost? This is absolute radon safety. How much?
Yeah, so we have two different types of testing. We have one where I can come and set up the initial charcoal tests, and then you mail it in yourself. The lab, who's third party to us, emails you the results directly. You do one test for 20 or two for 30.
Now that's cheap.
Yeah, it's a really simple way to test your home.
And then what?
And then we also have a continuous monitor test.
Now what? Now what's the most expensive test you have?
The continuous monitor is $150.
Why would anyone do that? What is continuous monitoring?
So a continuous monitor is an active testing device. So it is taking a reading of that radon level every hour.
So is it telling? Does it really reveal something that can help? Like what times of the day it's higher?
Yeah. So
why does that help if you're going to mitigate?
Well, say you're borderline, your levels are borderline, they're right around 4. And we come in and we do a continuous monitor test, and we're knowing that it's spiking, you know, you might have an hour in the afternoon where you have some high winds and it's spiking. Well, those high wind levels in the spring, you know, that might not be an accurate idea of what your
So how does that change your mitigation system?
It doesn't really change the way we design the radon system, but it just gives you more information to work with while you're making a decision on whether or not to mitigate.
So absolute radon safety, it's that easy. You know, from $20 to $150 the tests, and then you mitigate for $8.99. I don't know how much better you can get. I love it. And so then we have, of course, our mold expert. But John's got a comment on Adeline's boyfriend, Addie's boyfriend. Well, is Addie going to be upset when she finds out she's the topic? All right, so go ahead, John.
Mark. Shame on Mark.
What do you think?
He was trying to be careful with his daughter.
Yeah, wouldn't you be happy with a guy like that?
Yeah, I would be. I'd rather her come home safe than something horrible happening.
See, Suzanne, you're right.
So, would you have done it, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have went and picked her up.
No. Would you have, if you were out with a girl and you were 18, would you call or would you have her call if you were afraid to drive?
How well does he know him? Maybe he's scared of him the way he's acting.
Suzanne says yes, but you know that here, Mark. I know what Mark's saying. He's saying if you're not going to take her home, at least call me and tell me why, and don't let her do it. I thought it was appropriate for the daughter to do it because she's the daughter. I don't know.
Trying to be safe with her, for goodness.
You thought it was chicken crap though. He had her call. That part bothered too.
I'm so steaming over it, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, literally, I'm that irritated.
Really? Goodness gracious. What part irritates you? What part irritates you more? Does it the part where he had her call Suzanne, or the part where he didn't want to drive? Which part?
The entire thing irritates me. He took her out. He was going to have her home at a certain time. After that certain time comes and goes, I get a call from her, not even him.
Well,
after
Suzanne
I've already
Suzanne.
After After I've already had a discussion with this boy that she needs to be home on time. So after that time, she reaches out to Mom saying he doesn't want to bring me home. I don't know how much of it was phony baloney or anything else.
Want to bring me home? That's where Mark puts it.
See, I'm done talking about it.
Okay, but I want to comment. 303-713-TALK. Christy has a radon question. Go ahead.
Hey there. I'm just wondering if having a sump pump in your basement increases the level of radon or introduces it?
Or maybe decreases. I don't know. What about it? What do you think, Catherine?
Yeah, so an open, unsealed sump pit can be an easy entry point for the gas. Any soil gas is going to migrate through easy entry points like exposed dirt and sump pits. But when you have a sump pit, especially when it's connected to a perimeter drain, it works in favor with the radon system. Those homes are typically really easy to mitigate.
Oh, because they can use that to get rid of it.
Yeah, it'll pull from around the entire foundation of the home.
One more question.
Yeah.
If you have like cracks in your basement, is it always? I thought I had heard in the past that if you sealed the cracks in your foundation or in the basement floor, then you wouldn't need to have one of those fans and pipe, to.
Well, first of all, that's a good question. Is concrete a barrier?
Concrete acts as a barrier, but radon's a single atom, so it can diffuse through there. If you have large expansion joints, sealing large expansion joints can help a bit. If your levels are measuring in the teens, it's certainly not going to bring it down below the EPA recommended level of 4, but it can help sealing those expansion joints. But if you're looking at those little horsehair, just little stress fractures, those aren't a big factor. I wouldn't worry too much about those.
Do people, Christy, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. We had actually we had a water main out in front of our house break like about 7 or 8 years ago. So our entire basement floor was dug up and re-poured, so it's really in good shape. And at that point, they put in a sump pump. So we don't really have any issues.
But you can do a measurement for $20.
Right. And I think there are some people that you can actually get them for free, too. I want to say something off of a government site or something.
And if you do, remember, if there is ever a problem, these guys have a really reasonable price for mitigation.
But that was my question, though. Does it always have to be forced out, or can you seal? I mean, would they...
Sealing is not always enough. This is what I hear you saying, Catherine, that sometimes you have to have an exhaust system.
Correct.
All right, Jane, what is your comment on the boyfriend?
Well, I got two.
Yes.
My first comment is I think society is making wussy boys out of kids.
Okay.
Because I was younger than that when I drove through things that probably my folks would get picked
But what
up
about,
on.
and what's your second comment? And I kind of agree with you that kids are wusses compared to a few years ago.
Yeah, they're not manly men anymore. The second comment is I was a guy, I wouldn't come near his daughter, not with Mark for a father. He is always so angry. He is always so angry, and he would probably bring a shotgun. He's just an angry guy. He's constantly calling people names. I can't listen to your show when he's there and you're not.
Well, okay, Jane. Thank you for your comments, and I do believe that boys and girls, listen, I think kids in general are softer than they used to be, and then when I was younger, my parents told me that, and when they were younger, I think, convenience and technology does that. Rocky's Auto, 63rd and Federal, Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, and then on Saturday, 9 to 6. They have a huge selection of front-wheel drives, coupes and sedans, and SUVs. I mean, they really have a little bit of everything. What I really love is their variety in financing, 40 lenders to choose from. Check them out. A Carfax with every car, and they have, of course,